Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 16 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Karen P, and she wants to know which guy and which girl do I want to see make it to the end. Now just to clarify, Karen asked this question a while ago when there were many more girls left in the house besides just Christine and Victoria. So like, I don't want to see either of those girls in the end, so I'm just gonna go out there and say I would love a Donny and Zack final two. It would be awesome. Then again, maybe Nicole will come back next week. We'll see. But let me know how you guys would answer in the comments, and if you want to be house guest of the day, send me a private message. Alright, so last night Nicole was evicted 6-0, and the new HOHs are Derek and Frankie. Okay, so that's really crappy, but there are a lot of good things to look forward to. There's only going to be one HOH next week. This is the last double HOH Battle of the Block week. We're going to see Zingbot this week. How amazing is that? I hope we get to see baby Zingbot too. I love him. And someone's going to be coming back next week from the jury. Alright, so let's talk about Derek and Frankie's early plans for the week. They decide pretty quickly that Donny is the target this week. Of course, they've been talking about it forever. So Cody, Derek, Frankie, and Caleb were all talking in the bathroom area, and they were like, alright guys, this is how it's gonna be. Someone needs to volunteer to go up on the block with Donny and throw the Battle of the Block competition. I don't like that. So Caleb was like, well, I've already done it twice. Do we need to remind you what happened last time you did that, Caleb? You freaking blew it! So I don't think they want him to do it anyway. But they were like, yeah, let's come up with a plan to keep Victoria and Donny out of the HOH room tonight. That sounded really weird. HOH room tonight. So that we can hash things out and come to a decision without them being all like blah blah blah. So Derek comes up with this plan to tell Victoria that she's safe, and he wants to tell her like, you're safe, go to sleep tonight, leave me alone. So yeah, Zack comes over to the group and he's like, alright, I'll throw it, you Fruit Loop dinguses. So Frankie's like, okay, well if he's gonna do that, I'm fine with Derek nominating Donny and Zack so that I'm dethroned, because Frankie is like, I don't care if I stay HOH this week, whatever. So then Victoria walks over to the group and they tell her, Victoria, you're safe this week because we just love you so much. So she's like, oh my god, thank you, that means a lot to me, I appreciate it. So she doesn't know what's going on, come on. Alright, so then Derek had a moment to himself and he decided to speak to the cameras, aka the live feedsters, and he promised a lot of fireworks at this big meeting that they were going to have in the HOH room after the HOH room reveal. And basically he's talking about how the bomb squad is going to get together and they're all going to decide as a group who's going to go up on the block this week. They need 3 people to volunteer because, like I said, they're not going to put up Victoria initially, so they need 3 people to go up there with Donny. So it's looking like Zack is the only one willing to volunteer, and they still need 2 people. So he's like, oh, fireworks, America, get excited. So I thought there were some really interesting, funny comments about the live show last night from a few of the house guests. Frankie was so salty that Victoria did not answer Julie's question last night with a big Ariana Grande, because wasn't Julie like, what was the most exciting part of the week or shocking part or whatever? And Victoria was like, all of the lies? And Frankie was like, they were totally trying to get you to talk about Ariana Grande. Stop saying her last name if she's your sister. It's weird. So also another fun thing, Derek noticed there wasn't much applause from the studio crowd when he and Frankie won the HOH competition. Good job picking that up because it's true. Alright, so Frankie and Derek had some more time to discuss their plans in the Beehive room, and they decided that Derek should be the one to stay HOH this week because next week HOH competition is probably going to be endurance, and Frankie will have a much better shot at winning that than Derek. So Derek's like, alright, cool, I'm not going to backdoor you this week. I hope you'll keep me safe next week. So they're like, yeah, cool. So the plan is for Derek to nominate Zack and Donny, and then Zack would throw the BOB competition, and Frankie would nominate Christine and Cody, who would end up being safe for the week. So they're going to tell Donny that Zack is the target, and they think he's going to believe them. So then it was time for Derek to give Cody his instructions for the week. He was like, you need to volunteer to go up, because if you don't, it's going to look really bad. So Cody's like, okay, thanks, Derek. So Derek also tells Cody, you need to win HOH next week, and you need to protect my butt. And he pulls this crap out. He's like, it's probably going to be endurance, and if you need me to massage your balls during the endurance competition to get you to stay up there, I'll do it. Why would you need to do that? I have never seen an endurance competition where that was necessary, but if you feel like it is, you go for it, Glen Coco. So, anyway, Big Brother gave a big "you suck" to the house guests last night. I think they were feeling like everyone was particularly boring. So they gave the house guests 6 beers and a bottle of wine in the storage room. I don't even know if they drank it all because it just wasn't that good. So Derek and Donny were chatting in the Beehive room, and Derek was like, guess what, Donny? You're not the target this week. And he was like, yeah, everyone's trying to get me and Frankie to put you up on the block next to Victoria, but we're not going to do that. And I'm like, duh, of course you're not going to risk putting Donny and Victoria on the block together. What if they do win the BOB and they're both safe for the week? I think it's pretty clear that you would never do that. So Donny's like, well, it'd be nice to have a week off. And he was talking about how it would really hurt to go home before Victoria, which is an argument that many people have made this season. I think that says something about Victoria's gameplay. So he's like, maybe if you are going to put me up next to someone like Caleb or somebody like who will give me a chance to win the competition. So Derek's like, all right, man, we'll see what we can do. So Derek and Zack were talking in the Beehive room, and Zack is getting some cold feet about throwing this Battle of the Block competition. He's getting nervous. So Derek is like, yeah, whatever. Save all your concerns for the big meeting. I don't want to hear it right now. So it was time for the HOH room reveal. And Frankie, let's talk about them, you know, everything at once, just because it's easier. So Frankie got his letter from Ariana Grande, and in the letter she's like, I'm writing you from VMA rehearsals, and I'm opening the show. And he was freaking out about that, so he got some pictures of Ariana, he got Ariana's CD, and he got Ariana's favorite popcorn. I'm sorry, did Ariana win HOH this week? And he also got like this origami kit, lots of snacks, you know, etc., etc. Derek got a letter from his wife Jana. Lots of updates on their daughter Tenley, very cute. Baseball hat from his college. His daughter's baby blanket, that's really cute. Family photos, of course. And his CD was Ariana Grande. Just kidding. It was Daughtry. Wouldn't that be funny, though? Okay, so Caleb and Victoria, in other news, finally got to eat some real food at midnight last night after 2 weeks of slop. I just have to say, I kept forgetting that Victoria was even on slop because she never complained about it. Caleb was always like, oh, beast mode cowboy, more slop, I can't take it. But Victoria was just like, yeah, whatever. Surprising. And just to give you a quick update, Donny and Zack still have 1 more day of slop left. They'll be done tonight at midnight. So that sucks for them. But anyway, the detonators were waiting for Caleb to stop stuffing his face so they could start the big meeting. In the meantime, Zack was telling Frankie, again, he's really worried about throwing the Battle of the Block competition. He's like, well, what if it's not throwable? What am I going to do? So Cody was also in the room, and he was being a little biatch. He was like, well, if you don't throw it, then the rest of us could be in danger. I don't think anyone cares, Cody. So Zack is like, well, it's too late in the game to be throwing competitions like that. And you know what, Zack? I think you're right. And Zack should be especially worried because they were going to freaking vote him out last week. Come on. So Cody was like, well, if Zack isn't going to throw it, I don't want to go up on the block. You haven't been up yet, okay? So it was a real meeting of the minds, finally, in the HOH room. This is the fireworks that Derek was talking about, and all the detonators, or I guess it would be the bomb squad, were up in the HOH room, because Caleb was there too. So that's bomb squad. So Derek and Frankie were like, alright, somebody's going to have to go up on the block with Donnie and throw that battle of block competition. So then they were like, and we're also going to be nominating two of yous on the other side. So they explained how they were going to keep Victoria in the reserves just in case the power of veto is used. So, do we have any volunteers? No. No one was volunteering as tribute. So Caleb was like, well, if you don't volunteer, then it's pretty clear that you don't trust the Alliance. Not long after that, he said, I'm not volunteering this week. Because he was like, yeah, I've already volunteered multiple times. And let me just remind you guys again, look what happened last week when he volunteered. So, yeah. Zack is like, yeah, I don't want to do it. He was worried that what if, like, Victoria wins the power of veto and uses it on Donnie, and then one of the other bomb squad people goes up and they get rid of Zack instead. So he's worried about that. There was a lot of back and forth with this group, blah, blah, blah. And then they finally decided the way to pick the nominees this week is to draw Skittles. Alright, so let's make a long story or a mediocre story short. Christine was the first loser, which means that she was going to go up, well, she is going to go up on the block with Donnie. It's her responsibility to throw the competition. So then the next person drawn was Cody. He's going to be nominated on the other side along with Caleb. Alright, so Cody and Caleb were so pissed. They like stormed out of the room. They were pissed that Zack wasn't nominated or isn't going to be nominated. They were like, that's not fair. Bleh. So later, Caleb was talking to Derek and he was telling him how angry he is that Zack is not on the block instead of Caleb. Caleb's like, I've done so much for this alliance, it's not fair. So Caleb was saying how he wants them to backdoor Zack this week if things get crazy. Wow, this is exactly why Zack didn't want to volunteer in the first place. Come on now. So Derek and Cody got their scheme time in the HOH last night. So Derek was saying how he doesn't want Victoria to go home this week. No, that's because he's going to take her all the way to the final two. So Cody was like, well, if the plan gets messed up, I think we should think about backdooring Frankie this week. You know, if Donnie wins the power of veto, maybe we should take him out. Now, I agree with this plan. I think it would be exciting. I think it would be a good move for Derek. But I wouldn't really feel comfortable trusting Cody with anything that requires thinking, because this happened. Cody was like, oh, I didn't know that Daughtry's first CD is called Self-Titled. And Derek said, it's not called Self-Titled. It's called Daughtry. Come on! So, nominations were today, but right before that, Derek pulled Donnie up to the HOH room with Frankie, and they fed him the craziest BS ever. It was so messed up. So, you know that they decided immediately after they won the HOH competition that Donnie was going up on the block and he's the target this week. They had the nerve to tell him that he was part of this Skittle drawing. They're like, yeah, we decided to draw Skittles, and oh, we drew your Skittle, the red Skittle. Don't forget that color. It's gonna come back. So he was like, yeah, we drew your Skittle, like, I'm sorry, you're not the target. And they were like, well, at least you have 2 opportunities to save yourself. Ooh, great. So you know, because Team America's so tight, let's talk about their task this week. America has decided that they want Team America to steal a personal item from each house guest and hide them, and then they have to start a neighborhood watch program in the house. So here's some of the rules. They have to start this task by Tuesday at midnight, and they have to get at least 3 house guests, not including themselves, to participate in the neighborhood watch. And the neighborhood watch has to last for 24 hours. So Derek had the responsibility of relaying this to Frankie and Donny. He told them separately. They all think like, yeah, it's probably doable. So they were deciding how they were going to do this. They're like, let's hide stuff under the garbage bin in the storage room. What? And then they want to like maybe write a message on one of the mirrors that says like, you better watch your stuff for the next 24 hours. Huh? Yeah, so we'll have more on that in the next few days, but I just gotta give a shout out to Donny Holmes. He was talking to Cody about the Skittle drawing, trying to get some information about it. He was like, oh, what brought that along, like who decided to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, hey, what color was my Skittle? And Cody says, orange. Wrong! Derek told him it was red, and Cody said it was orange. You need to get your story straight. So I'm really hoping that Donny picked up on that. I'm thinking he probably did because he's a smart guy. He is a Harvard medical professor, so you pick up on those things. But we'll never know because who does he have to talk to? So hopefully we'll get to see that in a diary room session, but we'll see. So it was just a fun moment, and I think it was very telling. So the Battle of the Block competition is going on right now. Zack is the host, and of course, it's Donny and Christine versus Cody and Caleb. So like I said, it's happening right now as we're filming this. So when we find out the results, I'm going to post them in the bottom of the info for this video because I don't want to spoil it like I did last time. I feel bad. So check that out later. If you can't wait until tomorrow, come back to this video and check it out later tonight. And until next time, much love.
Edit.